Senator was a character. The first time I ever met Senator, I did a show at the I.L.A. Auditorium. Wardell produced the show. And that's, oh man, that's when Aretha Franklin was hot, and he had the Sugar Lumps and some people performing and doing everything, the Supremes. And Senator went on the show before me. And Senator didn't like what was going on. So Senator took the mic and threw it on the floor. Boom, busted. We couldn't finish the show because we had no more microphones. Okay. So, but he was a character. But he was a good person.
I would record, but I didn't do shows like Charlie worked. You know, you were always on. He was always on shows. I kind of stayed away from the show part, but I was proud of my buddy here. He
Well,
was
thank you, Richard.
always. I knew he was gonna make it, you know, in the business. You know, but we both kind of fell in the same hole, so to speak. But
Well, we looked at the music, you know, for me, getting a record out meant more jobs. I mean, I think I was on the radio, WWOZ, the other day, and we talked about me coming from talent shows. I met one of the first bands, David Batiste and the Gladiators, and I was telling his story the other day on the radio. I rehearsed with them, and they had a show in Houma. Show you how thrilled I was. You know the big old placards that the kids do in school and put glitter on it and put their name and make posters? David and I and his brothers, we made a big old plaque, David Batiste and the Gladiators, featuring Charles Brimmer with glitter on it. Man, we put that on the side of those station wagon, went down to Houma, the signs flapping on the side. Went there, performed all night for $4. Boy, but I was thrilled. I was thrilled. And we went from there and we wound up doing some shows, making $7 a night. And then we wind up at a club called Laura's. I went there and I met some guys at a club called the Autocrat. And they would perform there. It was Lee Dorsey's show band. And I saw them, and my cousin introduced me to the leader of the group, Oliver. The group was Oliver and the Rockettes. And he allowed me to perform. And he really liked what I was doing. At that time, I was out of school. I had a little janitorial job at a bar. And that's where I was playing my record at with nobody knowing it, okay? And some guys came in the bar and he was talking about this particular club. They had a good band down there. And when I went there, I said, I didn't even know where it was at. And the guy came in and said, it's down the street. So I went down there later on that night to see where it was at. So when I went in, they had a crowd of cars and people and said, wow, what's going on here? So when I went in, I paid my little money to get in. And I walked in, this same band was there, and the guy looked and he recognized me. And he begged for me to come over. And he asked me, said, you want to sing some songs? I said, yeah. I wind up singing the songs. And that's how I really started getting the notoriety. I did that, the crowd liked me. The owner of the nightclub asked me to, would I come and sing that weekend? I said, yeah. I performed there, people liked me that weekend. He said, can you come back tomorrow night? Yeah, I'm getting $15. I'm saying, yes. I was thrilled until I got home, because Mama took the money then. And from that point, he asked me, could I come back the next week? And I said, well, I don't know, I have to check with my band. He said, you have a band? I said, yeah, I sing with a band. And he said, how many, you know? And I said, well, check with him. I said, well, I'll call him. That's when I called David, of David Batiste and the Gladiators at that time. And we came and we performed at the club. We wound up doing 6 weeks there on the weekend. The guy was so impressed. And then from there, I got some exposure to some dances at the I.L.A. Auditorium. So from that point, it started escalating. But the notoriety came from also doing some records. And every time I would do a record, I record a record, they put it out and got some airplay. You know, that meant 15, 20 more dates. And I just kept escalating. I think I performed well and people liked what I was doing. And so I continued to do that. I did that from 69 up until 76. I did that. I did roughly over 200 dates a year.